I'm Megan Mears. I am one of the clinical project managers on this CI532 study, and I am going to share with you a new clinical care approach today. So your CI532 study team, we're clinicians just like you, and we've been looking at this data from a variety of different angles, just trying to see what else is interesting and what other relationships pop out. And we're going to share with you those extra cool tidbits today. The first thing that's really important for us to focus on is the need to standardize and streamline the cochlear implant journey. And that, of course, starts with access at the referral stage. What the current state is telling us is that awareness of cochlear implants and access to the technology is extremely low. In a survey given to general ENT physicians, they reported that of the cochlear implant candidates that they see in their clinics, they refer about 15% of them on for an actual cochlear implant evaluation. You can also see that Americans with a hearing loss who actually use a hearing aid are very few, that 23% of adults report having a hearing screening at their last physical, and that leads us to a very low penetration rate for cochlear implants. So what these numbers are telling us is that we are not seeing the number of cochlear implant candidates in our cochlear implant centers that we want to see. We're not even capturing the slam dunk cochlear implant candidates, the ones with the very bottom of the audiogram with the very low speech perception scores. And we think that that is likely due to sort of the complexity around the referral stage from these hearing aid professionals. So what we need to do is we need to improve access and awareness of CI technology. And we think we can do this by developing a simple referral criteria. And what we're going to look at is one number for PTA and one simple number for speech perception. And we'd like to use these metrics in our referring clinics, and we would like for you to use them as you train your referring clinics. So let's take a look at where the literature is pointing us to derive these numbers from. You guys are familiar with the work by Goebbels in 2016, and what it showed was that all of the patients who present with an audiogram in the shaded region, they are meeting cochlear implant criteria at a rate of about 80%. And the same for the speech perception that you're seeing on the other side of the graph. The patients who are meeting Medicare criteria are scoring about 32% on monosyllabic words, and those meeting private pay criteria are scoring about 44% on monosyllabic words. And they are meeting payer criteria at about 85 to 88%. So what Cochlear would like to do is start our metrics off here at a referral PTA of 70 dB. So if we can kind of drive that message home, when you see a patient in your clinic who has a PTA of 70 dB, now would be a good time for you to refer them for a cochlear implant evaluation. And same on speech perception. We're going to start with a speech perception score of 50% and sort of use that message. We think that's pretty simple, just to encourage them to refer all of their patients who are scoring 50% or worse on speech perception. Go ahead and refer them for a cochlear implant evaluation as well. The other literature that I want to look at today is the Hoppe article from 2015. And they've plotted all of their patients with their 4-frequency PTA against their speech score. And what they're seeing is that more than 50% of people with severe to profound hearing loss are getting poor results with hearing aids. And they looked at 30 dB, but we're looking at 50 as our, they looked at 30% word recognition, and we're looking at 50% word recognition. So you can see how many people would fall below that 50% line. And then if we go ahead and look at the PTA across the bottom, you're going to see that 90%, more than 95% of people in this group would meet cochlear implant criteria. And if we extend that line out to 70 dB or severe, significantly more than 50% of people in this group are meeting CI criteria. So we're feeling very comfortable that 50% would be a really good place for you to start having those patients be referred into your cochlear implant clinics. And since we gathered so much data in the CI532 study, we went ahead and plotted it similarly to the Hoppe study. So all of the dots in yellow are pre-operative scores. So you can see that we've gone ahead and drawn the line at the 70 dB PTA. And remember, in this study, we did cap the inclusion criteria at 40% speech recognition. And then all of the green dots are post-operative scores. So what you're seeing is that preoperatively, more than 50% of people with a 70 dB loss or worse, they were getting 1.5 out of 10 words correct with a hearing aid. And postoperatively, more than half of the people were getting 6.4 words correct. And so we think one of the reasons that we're not seeing these black and white, these clear-cut cochlear implant candidates being referred into your clinics is that it's a difficult, complex referral process. And this is the tool that we currently have. This is a list of our indications. You can see the audiograms on there, the speech banana. The indication is shaded in yellow. And this might look very intuitive to all of you cochlear implant specialists, but this is a lot to wade through for a hearing aid professional. So we're looking to streamline this metric into something more like this. And this reflects what we've just been talking about. So this would be a resource that you could use when you train your referral clinics and that Cochlear will use to help train these referring clinics as well, that they should consider referring these patients when they have a PTA greater than 70 dB and or aided speech discrim less than 50%. So we are going to continue to evolve this tool and these values. You already will start seeing these come into your clinic from our field staff, and we would love to just have some ongoing dialogue and feedback with you about what you think about these particular values that we're recommending. All right, so that's the referral part of the journey, and after they're referred into your clinic, we want to talk about the candidacy. So Cochlear thinks that this would be a simplified and streamlined way for you to talk with your hearing aid referrals and providers. Thank you all for your time.